Okay, let's jump into our FanAd daily video for July 17th. These games, these four games that we're going to analyze, you're probably not going to find in a fantasy contest. They're just for demonstration purposes, although they are real games, but we only have time for four games, so we're just spotlighting certain games. So let's just assume that these four games are in a fantasy contest that you're playing. Let's start by looking for a pitcher. Again, the PR plus is where you always want to start. PR plus is the pitcher rating plus, and it considers the matchups for the day, takes in all the thousands and thousands of data points and sabermetrics, but it figures on the contest today. So the Washington and Cincinnati, if Strasburg were playing against Baltimore today, his PR plus would be different because it considers the matchup. So you always want to start with the PR plus. So let's look for a pitcher that's got a good PR plus. Obviously, Strasburg is going to have one, so that stands out. You got Texas at 103, decent, and you've got Houston at 146. So you really only have three options for pitchers. You've got Washington, Texas, Houston. So let's go up to Washington. Our concern with Strasburg, and everyone knows he's a stud, but our concern is this last game score of 25. Just not sure there's not something wrong there. So we're going to be a little bit cautious on using him, although there's not a whole lot of other good choices, because if you go down to the next one, within Texas, you've got a 103 with Cashner. However, his recency is awful. So there's, that's, again, taking caution there. If you come down here, McCullers has a great PR plus, 146, but again, his last game score was 24, which is horrible. He's got a poor recency, so we're really struggling to find a pitcher. We're probably going to have to go with Strasburg, but the problem is that Strasburg is going to be high priced in your contests, and so if he really pitches a stinker, you're going to waste all your salary on a guy that didn't do very well. So I think we're going to put two entries in, one with Strasburg and maybe one with McCullers, hoping he bounces back. So let's say we're going to do Washington and Houston as our pitchers. So let's go to sluggers. This is an interesting day for sluggers on these four games for this. If there were a contest for these four games, we probably would go with Texas and Baltimore as our main sluggers. The reason is both pitchers are awful, and this is key. Both bullpens are awful, so you're going to have a full game of awful for these guys to hit against on both sides. So we're probably going to go with sluggers from Texas and Baltimore. Not going to take anybody from Washington, Cincinnati here because these pitchers could both pitch good games. Seattle, Houston, we might take some sluggers from Houston just because of this PR plus that's low and poor recency. So we might go with some sluggers from Houston. And then down here, we're probably going to definitely pick up some sluggers from both of these teams. Now, we all know that home runs are king in fantasy baseball. These home run ratings, again, are derived from the matchup and the weather conditions and et cetera for the day. Both of these home run ratings for these teams are outstanding. So we would expect that these teams would hit some home runs in this game. So, we're kind of torn between the home run ratings for Texas and Baltimore are also pretty good. So I think we're zeroing into sluggers from Texas, Baltimore, and Tampa, Oakland. And then our pitchers, again, would be Washington and Houston in a couple entries. Now, I'm just going to point out this strikeout rating as well. I forgot to do that. Strikeout rating, again, we know strikeouts are king for the pitchers in fantasy baseball. You get points for strikeouts. So Strasburg has a really good strikeout rating, meaning that, even if he doesn't pitch his top game, maybe he'll get some strikeouts. Again, and Houston, same thing. McCullers has a good strikeout rating. So everything kind of leads us to those two pitchers, hoping that one of them will pitch lights out and get back to form. So I think that's it. We're going to close her down for the day. Good luck in your contests, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.